Fires a long one.
Oh,
Nothing but net. Oh, my goodness. Didn't see that coming. I'm diddly dee.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of All Nat, brought to you by OTS. I'm your host, Natalie, but most people call me Nat. And I think this guest today has been long overdue in a way. If you are on Twitter and follow me and probably follow some other people who are popular on Dub's Twitter, then you know him. He is someone who needs no introduction, but he's known as OG, Coach, Ricky. I call him Pretty Ricky sometimes. But he's someone who needs no introduction, can be controversial at times. You'll see him and I going back and forth, but at the end of the day, it is all love between us. He is an old head in that he knows the game of basketball. He's coached. He knows a lot of people. He has a lot of connections. And I'm thankful that he came onto my show to chop it up with me. So, Ricky, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Nat. I appreciate that. Thanks for giving me the hardball. Your pod, the last pod you had, was fire.
Yeah.
I love that pod. You
Thank
had
you.
you had who's a student of the game. You had a male ex-player. You had a female ex-player. So we had three different dynamic lens. I thought it was one of the best pods I've listened to that we don't call the the big show pods. just Twitter pod. I don't listen to a lot of them. You know my feelings on pods. That pod I listened to from start to the end.
Wow.
There was times I agreed with all three of you. There was times I disagreed with all three of you, but I thought it was fire. So thanks for bringing me on behind them. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Ricky and I have been talking about doing this for a while. We collaborate sometimes on a couple of spaces with Dime Dropper, who covers the Clippers. And we just like to talk hoops, So and I appreciate Ricky. Like sometimes I get on him because I feel like he doesn't always take into account perspectives unless you played or coach. But he'll go back and forth with me, and it's all good. People I think see us sometimes fighting on the timeline, think we like hate each other, but we actually don't. So we're cool. He always looks out. He helps to promote my show and share it with people, something you don't have to do. So I appreciate you, Ricky. I really do.
I want to give you a thanks. You brought me back to two people that I had blocked, and you was a bridge, and I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, and I think everybody knows who they are, but I appreciate that. And sometimes we get caught up in emotions, and I'll shoot from the hip sometimes, and it's not always good.
Yeah, the thing with Twitter, and I'm guilty of this too, is that we kind of assume tone like through tweets, right? So I think before I actually ever talked to you, I thought you were just like some crazy old man. But then I talked to you and I heard you and I'm like, oh no, he's not that at all, So even though we don't agree, I didn't think you were crazy anymore. And I think the same goes for me. I think a lot of people have perceptions of me, like if they just see my tweets and then they started hearing me talk and they were like, oh wow, she's different than what I thought. So we form these opinions about people and we think their tweets mean certain things and we kind of interpret what we think their tone is and assume things. And based on those assumptions that are often not correct, then we're like, I don't like him. And so I'm glad that we're in this place where we are now.
Well, I think you and I fall in the category of strong opinions. Sometimes that gets us in a little combat, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I like strong people. My family's like that. I like people who are going to stand up, hey, you ain't right.
Yeah, I mean, I just like people who have opinions, I really, whatever it is. I mean, obviously, if you're just like a crazy person, that's different. But I like people who have opinions, kind of provide their reasons why, and stand on them versus like always trying to play the middle and be neutral and this and that. Like just fucking pick a side and tell me what you think. So I like that. And so that I favor that, and that's how I am. I know everyone isn't like that, but I like that. And so, like I said, you have coached, you've seen a lot of players, you know, a lot of people. So I appreciate someone like you talking to me and treating me with respect when you do talk to me.
Well, what you do better than anybody or most people, you give a full explanation. Whether I agree with you or not, you give a full explanation. See, what I don't like is drive-bys.
Okay,
You know, you want to
gotcha.
tell me I'm nuts, you want to tell me I'm wrong, fine. Tell me why. See, I believe basketball conversation starts with a question, an answer, but now the follow-up is where the conversation starts.
Gotcha.
See, then we can go back and forth. See, I would rather sit at a table with 5 people who disagree with me on basketball than
Right.
5 people who agree with me, because we're not going to learn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, as you know, part of that comes from me being a lawyer. So that's what I do. I explain things, and then that's just part of my nature. So I'm never going to stop doing that. But I have started to be more mindful who I spend my time doing that with. Like you and I will actually engage in real discourse. So I don't mind. Some people are just there to troll and be silly. So I'm trying not to spend as much time with those people. So we are here today to have real basketball discussion. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Can
So,
I can I interrupt for 1 second?
of course.
Before it's your show,
Okay.
and before you get into, we got to talk Aces Storm.
Oh, okay,
We
sure.
must go there.
That game was amazing.
That game was that game was not only amazing, the chaos from the final 30 seconds, 40 seconds to regulation.
Yeah.
There's
How
a,
did you
there's a,
feel about that Asia Wilson play? Did you think she traveled?
absolutely. But here's my take on this. And I saw some discourse, and I tweeted last night. Asia travel, absolutely. And if I'm sitting on the Storm bench when I see that tape, yes, I'm pissed off. That was a missed call. That wasn't your game. Let's go back to the game. First of all, you got beat on the glass. Okay. Number one, the basketball game isn't just one play or two play. You got beat on the glass. Your execution on out of bounds with Sue Bird giving the ball to Tina Charles was horrendous. Tina Charles cannot catch that inbounds play. First of all, I don't know why she was on the floor. But if she is on the floor, the ball, and Sue Bird knew she made a mistake as soon as she did it. You got 2 missed free throws. Then you go down and you got the
But I
bucket.
mean, it's Tina Charles. So
I understand, but sometimes you got to do in situational stuff, especially on free throws.
I agree. But I mean, I don't have a problem with Tina Charles getting the ball.
Well, in that situation, obviously we do now. She missed 2 free throws, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you just live and die with that, right?
Right, exactly. But the travel was not your game. That was a missed call. That wasn't your game.
Well, I mean, they scored after that. So I
they
feel like
played another 5 minutes.
Right. So I feel like the harping on that is silly. Like Sue Bird hit a 3 after that, right? So
exactly.
And they thought they had the game won.
And then they go down and get an out of bounds play.
Right.
Layup bucket. Now, Becky Hammond out of bounds execution was extremely impressive in that.
Yeah.
The difference, if we're going to talk about the last 30 seconds, the difference in the game was out of bounds execution. Aces executed, Seattle didn't. See, these are the things that I get upset from a coach's lens that people overlook. Yes, it was a travel, but that wasn't your game.
But that's excuse making, right? Which I know you accuse many of us in Dub's Twitter of doing, but like.
Well, there's reasons and there's results, but sometimes reasons matter.
Right. But I mean, the thing is, like, we don't even need to point to Tina Charles missing free throws. Stewie missed some free throws.
Oh no.
And she didn't play a great game until really like in the fourth quarter, she finally started to get into it. So, they got into a deficit, and while they did get themselves back into the game, right? Like, I don't know if it was I don't know what it is, but like once overtime came, they didn't seem up to the task anymore, right? I don't know if they
were beat. They were defeated.
Yeah, I don't know.
They knew they blew the game. They blew the game at the free throw line. They blew the game on the out of bounds execution. They blew the game on defense.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, it was a chaos. But the travel wasn't the call. Aces got too much firepower, in my opinion.
I also think it's debatable whether it was a travel, because don't they allow you the extra step to like, right?
Well, now we're back to the untold story. So
right. So I mean, like, yes, like if back in the day, I would have said hands down travel, but based on the rules today, I think it's debatable whether it's not. But also, I think it was a good no call, meaning like at that point, in that moment, at that time in the game, with Asia being a superstar, you're not getting that call, right? Like I don't think
I agree.
the refs are not going to decide the game on that kind of thing. So
I agree with you. But
yeah,
what I'm more talking about, that was not your game.
I agree.
See, a lot of times we forget there's a lot of things that go on in a basketball game. Let's just go to the last 5 minutes of closing. Forget the overtime. There's a lot that went on both teams that didn't do. Neither team really guarded in the last few minutes.
That was a great last few minutes. It wasn't even minutes. It was like how many seconds in total?
No.
Like maybe a minute. It was like
wait a minute.
bang bang plays.
We had like 3 buckets, 12 seconds.
Yeah, it was insanity, but it was
the shot making was incredible.
How about Chelsea Gray? Like she's been,
Chelsea Gray. Chelsea Gray's a load.
Oh,
we talk about Wilson as Stewart, and they're great. They're the stars. I get it.
I mean, Chelsea's a star too.
Chelsea, well, she's a star, but okay, you're right. She's a star.
She's a star, and she should have been an all-star, and she felt snubbed, and that's why she's on this tear right now. And I mean, her shot making. I mean, the percentages she's shooting is like she's a wing or like a big who plays close to the rim. Like but she's not. She's a guard.
Well, she's a big, strong point guard.
Yeah, but I'm saying the shot making percentages, like it's not even like she plays close to the rim for those percentages to be that high. That's really my point. Like,
you know what she has? I think a lot of people miss. She's got a killer crossover, but it's a quiet crossover. See, a lot of people think the crossover becomes wide back. She's got that Tim Hardaway crossover where it's really from her armpit to her left hand. It's just boom. It's not out, in. And a lot of people don't catch that. She beats people off the dribble with that little crossover. A lot of people don't see. But she's good. It's a great series. If a lot of people are not watching it, shame on you.
Yeah, it's incredible. I think it's going to go the full distance and go 5, but I have the Aces coming out of that series.
Tonight, they play tonight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I want to see Seattle's body language the first 5-6 minutes. Are they going to come out with energy and play desperate, or are they going to kind of like they did in the overtime?
Oh, for sure. I mean, Sue and Brianna are champions, right? Like, and she didn't have her best game, so Stewie's gonna, yeah.
She's a shot maker too. My goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's your show. I just wanted to give the women some love.
Oh, we never have a problem giving women love on this show, so and that's fine. It's never. I like to just have conversations. So, we'll see. By the time this show actually gets released, I think we'll either know if it's going to a game 5 or if it ends tonight. So we'll see if I was right or
we need a game 5. I want a game 5.
I want a game 5 too, but I think the Aces will win ultimately, but
they got too much firepower. They got way too much firepower.
I think it's gonna go 5 games, and I'm here for it.
I'm with you. I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. So it's still been a somewhat quiet off season. I think people thought there were going to be some really big, not for the Warriors per se, but maybe for other teams. I think people expected like a lot of fireworks, especially when the news came out that Kevin Durant requested a trade, and then like that didn't really happen. So, I mean, I feel like maybe some of the more bigger trades that occurred in the off season were like DeJounte Murray, Rudy Gobert, and then Donovan Mitchell. But the one that the blockbuster, like, Katie, Kyrie, the one that people were waiting on that did not seem to come and doesn't appear it will be coming for the start of the season, never happened. So, and the Warriors, quiet as kept, they just kind of kept doing their thing. So we're here now waiting for camp to start, and I'm wondering, what are your thoughts now that we have a better idea of like the league and the teams and the moves that have been made and kind of at least what the landscape is to start the season? How are you feeling about the Warriors and their chances going into the season, because there has been a lot of chatter about the Clippers. Some people are already saying like they're the best team in the West, they're going to come out of the West. And in a way that feels a little disrespectful to the Warriors to me, although I do understand who's on their team. But I'm just wondering your thoughts when you look at the West now. What are your thoughts on the Warriors going into next season?
First of all, let's talk about what we lost. We lost Peyton. We lost Porter.
Okay.
That's huge. That's huge. Peyton is huge. Porter is huge.
I don't agree.
The cost of winning a chip, you're going to lose role players that play well. That's the cost of winning a chip.
But you get new role players.
Yeah, but Dante is a good player. People, if he's healthy, people are sleeping on him, and he fits the Warriors system up tempo. He's going to fit in the backcourt playing with Poole because he'll calm Poole down a little bit, and he guards. We got the 3 kids. They all got a year under their belt. That has to be a positive.
We also got Jermichael.
Jermichael Green, yes, that's another one. And Jermichael Green gives you a lot of what Porter does. Maybe not the high IQ, but maybe a little better shooting, maybe defense. So I think the drop off isn't that big of a deal.
He's a better. I do. That's why I feel like the pickups offset each other because he's a better rebounder than Otto. Otto's the better shooter, but like they kind of play similar kind of functions. And I think like you're getting a more balanced offensive and defensive player with how do I pronounce his name?
With both players.
With Dante.
With Dante and Green, you're getting a better balance.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, yes, you're definitely getting a trade-off in terms of like the defense, but you're still getting a very solid defender. So I understand the sentimental attachments to GP2. I get it, but I'm like, okay, people, I wish he would have stayed. I do, but I think it's okay that we lost him. I think we got the right pickups to be
I'm in agreement with you. Here's the dynamic that I think a lot of people are missing with the Warriors. They're defending champs, okay? But they have a lot of contract issues coming up with the tax.
Oh yeah, there's a lot about it every day.
Well, here's the good thing. They got a ball this year. You're not guaranteed coming back after this year if you don't have that good year because of the tax. And when I say you got a ball, I'm talking to Green, I'm talking to Clay, I'm talking guys on the fringe. Do we want to give Green that max? Do we want to give Clay that big contract? Well, you got to show us this year. So what I mean by that is I'm not saying they can or cannot show us. They got a ball. Then you got the kids. You know what? You got Kuminga that's getting a lot of unfair treatment right now. I'm not that scared. I'm buying all stock on Kuminga. His ceiling is massive. He's long and he can guard. Kerr wants wings now. Back to the early Warriors, chip teams when they were wing heavy. Moody's at wing. He wants that. Wiseman's a little different gimmick, different dynamic.
Who also gets unfair treatment, by the way.
Very unfair treatment. They put too much pressure on him. But what Wiseman will give Steph Curry is vertical spacing.
Yep.
People do not understand vertical spacing. As a guy who used to play in some summer leagues with a guy like Lonnie Shelton as an NBA big guy, I understand vertical spacing. People cannot come with you if you got a guy that it's an automatic roll, layup, dunk.
Did you watch Wiseman in summer league?
I did, and I thought here's what I saw when I watched Wiseman in summer league. Much better footwork. The new coach that the Warriors hired a year ago, that's coaching the big, I saw it in Looney, and I saw it in Wiseman immediately. His screen setting, his footwork was night and day.
Oh, wow.
Night and
what
day.
about his hands?
Better, but that's going to come. The problem with his hands is more of he's still adapting to the speed of the game. When you go from high school to no college, no summer league, right into the NBA, it's like standing on the middle of a freeway. It's just cars going everywhere. And if you haven't adapted to that speed, that affects your hands. Not 100%, but it does affect your hands. Poole went through this his rookie year. Once the game slowed down for him, shoot, he went through the roof. I think what the Warriors fan need from Wiseman, vertical spacing, 7'2" in the paint is an issue. I don't care if you block shots or not. That's an issue. It changes a 5-footer to a 12-footer. I don't care. Just him being there.
How many minutes do you think he can give them realistically?
12 to 18 early.
18.
12.
Wow.
I said, wait. Let me read.
On the high end.
On the high end later.
Okay.
See, one thing the Warriors are going to do this year that it's going to drive a lot of Warrior fans nuts. Kerr's going to play the roster.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get them ready. There's going to be nights where Curry, Clay, Green, they're going to play 32 minutes, 33 minutes when they can. Wiseman, first 2 months, 12 minutes maybe. Maybe a little more just to get. I can see him playing 18 minutes in certain matchups.
So, but I don't expect that he's going to be on the floor with Steph a lot. It's probably going to be him and Poole, right?
Him and Poole pick and roll with Dante. See, Dante will be the defending. Dante will guard the point of attack. Poole will have the ball pick and roll with Wiseman.
Okay. So 12 or so minutes from Wiseman. Now, Moody, it's all great talk about him and positive talk, and everyone's kind of expecting him to have a big season of sorts. What are you expecting from Moody?
Here's the difference between Moody and the other two kids. He played for an NBA coach in college. So he's a little bit more seasoned, a little bit more taught in scheme. See, Kuminga's problem right now is court awareness. He lacks court awareness. Moody has court awareness. Moody's going to be a good player. Moody has a higher floor than Wiseman and Kuminga, but Kuminga and Wiseman have a higher ceiling in my view.
Okay. Do you think Andre is going to come back?
You know, that's.
And so what? Let me ask this: not do you think he's going to come back? Should he come back? Do you think he should come back? Because if not, then I don't know if they try to get like another vet in free agency, or if they now take Quinn Cook off of the two-way. Because I think, like.
No, Quinn Cook's in Sacramento, right?
No, not Quinn. I'm Quindary. Sorry. Quindary Witherspoon, not Quinn Cook. Okay. So do they take Quindary off of the two-way and convert him? Because I think that's who gets most impacted if Andre decides whether to leave or go. Because I think Moody's going to have, the minutes he's going to have regardless.
To answer your question, I would like to know if Andre would tell me I will be in the room in like an assistant coach type.
He doesn't want to coach, but I agree.
Okay. If he doesn't want to coach, then I want him back.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like can't the Warriors just create some role for him? Like, I don't know, strategic advisor. I don't give a fuck what they call him.
But you just said he don't want to do that.
He doesn't want to coach, but it doesn't have to be a coach per se, right? Like, Sean is there, but he's not there on the coaching staff, right?
Let's take this out. Let's just say, do we want Iguodala back for the kids? You
want him in the locker room, is what you're saying.
I want him in the locker room for the kids. Now, if he doesn't come back, I think they leave the spot open.
I want an able body.
I understand.
I want an able body and also someone who can be.
Now let me ask you a question. Let's take a pick. We got to pick a side. Do we want an able body or do we want Iguodala around the kids?
No, I want both. You
can't have both.
Yes, you can. But here's the thing, right? Like, I'm not even saying like there were times last season that we were thin because people were hurt out, whatever. And Andre couldn't even he just wasn't even available. Right. So I'm not expecting Andre to play a lot of minutes if he does come back, but I want him to be an able body, meaning like if we get thin, can he at least get in the game? Like we need a body on the court. Last year, it was like he felt like he took a vacation.
Right? Well, he does that every year.
No, but he's not. But he started the season and was playing well, and then he got hurt, and then we barely saw him again after that.
I'm not sure how much basketball he has left, but he has this.
I agree, but I feel like that can be given without taking a roster spot.
All right,
that's always been my position, but whatever. I would just like to know, when is the decision going to be made?
when Iggy answers, That's
Yeah,
the
but like
problem.
it's September.
I understand. But let's say Iggy doesn't come back. I think they leave the spot open.
No, but see, they're gonna leave a spot open regardless of whether he comes back. So they still need that position. Like when you go
Right.
through the full roster, there's still.
So who's your favorite two-way player
What do you mean on the squad
on the
or?
Warriors? Yeah, on the Warriors. Let's say you want to put. You mentioned.
I would
Well,
like Quinn to be on the full roster. I would.
okay, that's fine.
Um,
I like him.
but I think that whether and the thing is, you're right in that I don't know, like, even if Andre says no, right? Like, even if he says no, um, he's not coming back. I don't know if Quinn is going to be their person, but I know that would leave them with 2 spots, not 1. So I think that they still have to fill that spot with someone. They might want to keep Quinn on a 2-way as long as possible to save money, right? So I just don't know who that person would be. So it's actually a really interesting situation.
I'm not sure
like
they know.
like Baldwin is going to be like away at the G League, right?
I think so. Now Baldwin's an interesting. Let me tell you about Baldwin. Baldwin, I think a lot of people are not familiar with this. Baldwin, when he was a youth, AAU going up, he was always number 1 in his class. He's a talent. I mean, he turned down Duke to go play for, I believe, his father.
Right.
So I could see Baldwin going back and forth because his shooting can be elite. But now Kerr likes the other kid, Rollins. Kerr's a big.
I was going to ask about him, right?
Kerr's a big. There's a story that I was told that Kerr walked in when they were working out, and Kerr said, "Who is that?" And it was.
But
Rollins.
he's gonna get rotation minutes. We know that already.
I think so.
So that's independent. Yeah, because I mean they cleared. They put him on an actual contract.
Right.
So it's not
He's
like
got a guarantee. He has a guarantee.
Right. It's not like McClung, who I know you're not a fan of.
No.
He has to try to make the roster, right?
He's not making that roster, please.
Right. So
or I'm gonna raise hell. We'll do another pot.
But let's see. Like I think I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah. They have 13 without Andre being signed, because Quinn right now signed to a 2-way. Lester, I believe, is on a 2-way.
They just signed a guy from the Clippers. What was his name? Jerome?
Yeah, but I don't think that's for like a contract to compete, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So they right now they only have 13 roster spots. And I agree with you that I think they're probably going to go in 1 short, but they're going to need to have a 14th spot if Andre doesn't commit. And I don't know who that is.
My guess, Weatherspoon.
I'd like it to be him.
I think so. Well, no, he fits Kerr. He defends. See, one thing about Kerr that I've learned, and I pay, I got a lot of flack. Was it last year, 2 years ago? I said the last man on a roster doesn't matter in the NBA, and it's still true. But it worked out for Peyton because he guards, so he had the right coach.
Right.
So he not only became the last man on the roster, he got the rotation because he guarded. See, I see that with Weatherspoon. Weatherspoon guards.
Okay, so I have something I want to do because I have you on, and that you can give us like the coach's lens and the perspective. But I want to actually go through the roster, right? And I want to know what you're expecting for each player next season. And if that's like how we just discussed with Baldwin, like he may just be tucked away at the G League, that's fine. But but I also want to know, like, not just for next year, but like what should fans expect, especially for like some of the young guys who they may not be as familiar with. So Baldwin, we kind of covered him already. He's probably going to be in the G League, but he can possibly shoot, right? Like that's one of the main things.
He can shoot.
Yeah.
No, he can shoot. There's a lot of things he can't do. He can shoot, and he's.
So,
big.
what are his weaknesses? What does he need to be
guarding his space? Guarding his space.
Okay.
Guarding his space is his problem, but he fits Kerr's read and react because of his stretch, and he's a shooter. So there's a little bit of give and take. But guarding his space will be his issue.
Did you like the pick?
I did. I thought it was a sneaky steal.
Okay.
I mean, and that's only because I've followed him through his AAU high school. I mean, when you're recruited by Coach K and you're ranked very highly, you got talent. Now we can argue back and forth if you fit, but you have talent.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Ryan Rollins though, because you said Kerr likes him. Do you like him?
You know, that's the one player I don't have a lot of information on.
Okay.
I've seen tape on him. For me to really give an evaluation, I wouldn't be fair.
Okay.
But I do know that Kerr walked in and when they were working out, and he turned Kerr's head. So,
Okay.
but I've only seen a little bit of tape on him. I'm not as familiar with him as ball.
All right. Okay. Um, we also talked about Jamichael a little bit. So where do you see him falling like in the rotation and minutes? Because
Well,
like
let's break down his game first.
okay.
Last year, let's forget last year because I think
Yeah.
he had some injury issues.
Yep.
Go back before that. Look, what did he shoot from the corner three?
He was
Very
like
high.
close to 40, right? Wasn't he like
Exactly. No,
38?
he's a little bit over 40, I believe.
Was he?
I believe
He shot well. I know that.
so. If he can get back to 38 to 40 corner three, he's gonna be. You know, Kerr's weird sometimes. You can play a lot of minutes for Kerr 3-4 games in a row. You disappear for 3-4 games in a row. Then you think you're not going to play, and all of a sudden Kerr calls your name. It's a weird dynamic. Kerr keeps all his end of the bench players on their toes. You never know when you're going to play.
But on the depth chart, you expect Dante to be higher than him, right?
Oh yes, I think Dante's gonna play with the first group, and Dante's gonna be big in the second group with Poole because Dante can guard point of attack. See, when you play Poole, you got to have somebody can guard point of attack. Now he's getting better, but he's not that guy yet. And Poole with Wiseman pick and roll, I think could be elite.
So right, so like what I find interesting about Jamichael is that I don't think, but maybe because he did have some injuries, I don't think they have to manage him as much as they did Otto.
From injury wise?
Yeah.
Oh, Otto has injury problems.
Right. So like, because that to me, that was something also that sometimes hurt, like when we were playing, because like Otto couldn't do the back-to-backs and you know, you had to like limit his minutes to like get him to the postseason. And even then in the postseason, he still had some injuries. I don't think Jamichael has to be managed as much. So I think we'll get more from him just in terms of like,
right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay. Okay. So in terms of Moody, we talked about him too already. Just because he already had an NBA coach and you know, he looks to be ready. I mean, you hear nothing but positives coming out about him. And I don't mean just like, oh, how he looked in summer league, but even like the word around the team and how like the people, like, you know, the organization, other players feel about him. They're high on him.
Can I interject on summer league?
Yeah.
Summer league is very hard to play when you're an NBA player, coming down playing with non-NBA players,
Right.
trying to earn a job. That's not easy to play.
But
it's
then
very difficult.
Okay, so but let me ask you this question then. Why are you so hard then on a player like McClung? Because part of why he's playing the way he is, part of it, I'm not saying that's not the way he plays, but it's because he's auditioning, right? Like not just for the Warriors, but he wants other teams to see what he can do, right? Because he wants to make a roster.
No, exactly. No, I understand what he's doing. I just don't like small guards at ball pound. And he doesn't shoot well enough.
But you don't think that he would buy into the Warrior system? I don't want him, by the way. I'm just playing.
All right. Let's say he does. Does he shoot the ball well enough for his size? See, we saw what happened with what's his name, number 2. I don't want to say his name because the small point guard from Florida. Let's look at him for a minute.
I don't think that's a fair.
Well, but let me say why I say this.
Okay.
Let's go back to Florida in the tournament. He dominated college basketball. He dominated that tournament. He gets on the NBA floor. He can't get his damn shot off. That's the problem with 6-foot guards. And that's my problem with McClung. I don't dislike small guards personally. I don't like small guards who can't shoot. They can't get 2 feet in the paint consistently.
But Chio's I'm just saying, I just felt like Chioza.
Well, who's better? Who's better? Which one do you think is better?
I would prefer McClung over Chioza. Like, I don't know what Chioza has done in a past life that make all of you give him a pass. But
well, I don't
know,
give him a pass.
But I know last year on the Warriors, like what I watched him do was dribble the ball, run out the shot clock almost, then never shoot. And the teams knew he was never going to shoot. And then he would pass it to someone late in the shot clock to do something. Like, I did not find him I did not understand why he got so many minutes. I know you don't like, I know you don't like when we question Kerr. This whole idea to me of just
I'm in agreement with you on Kerr. I didn't want him on the floor either. Okay. See, I don't agree with everything Kerr does. Believe me. I like McClung. I don't think he should be in camp. First of all, he doesn't shoot well enough from the outside. He's late on his reads and pick and roll because of his size. He had a hard time in the summer. Put him on the NBA floor. No, forget it.
Well, I don't think he's making the roster either. I think he'll eventually make an NBA team. I think he deserves to be on one at the back of the roster.
Okay, that's fair. Just not on my team. Just not on my team. Same thing with Nico Mannion. I didn't like Nico Mannion. Kerr liked him.
Well, he likes these game manager types, which I like. To me, it's a little antiquated, but like, I don't mind that if you're actually really good at it. I didn't think those guys were really good at. Nico was better than Chioza.
Nico's better than both of them, and I don't like Nico.
But Nico left. He understood. He got it.
Yeah. Well, now the Kerr Nico thing was an Arizona thing. Let's leave that there.
Okay. Well, whatever. It was highly agitating because like last season, I would have preferred Quinn getting those minutes over Chioza. Really, I thought he would have added more value.
I agree with you. But the problem with number 2 was Atkinson. He's the reason why he was on that roster.
Yeah, but like, come on. They were watching the same thing as us, right?
Well, sometimes, sometimes they see things that we think is wacko. But then we got to say, okay, what's the backstory here? Back to Mannion. It was Arizona connection.
Yeah, I get that. They didn't see nothing because he's not on the squad for next year. So I know.
I agree. So he's gone. and I will be shocked if 55 is on the roster. And if he is, I have to root for him, but I'll be shocked.
Okay. Well, so Kevon Looney is going to be our starting center, right?
Should be.
I mean,
after his playoff run?
Yeah, I don't see James Wiseman getting that spot from him.
There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that.
And I think, it's well deserved because even last year I was still saying we don't have a starting caliber center, but Looney just plays center. But he is.
Well, 2 years ago, I thought Looney was cooked because of his health.
Right.
He didn't move. That changed. But let's give the new coach a lot of credit on Looney.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it this year had to do with him. That's why I'm interested to see Wiseman. See, I heard talk about Wiseman hadn't improved on the couple summer league games. Oh, absolutely, he did. His screening and his footwork was you can see it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what people were expecting from Wiseman in summer league. Like
it's the Melo effect. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, I feel like that was unrealistic. So, but I mean, you brought up earlier like people playing for contracts, and I think the main 2 people who that's going to be. I mean, obviously Poole has to still play well, but I don't think I think we know they're going to invest in Poole, right? As long as he doesn't have like some big drop off or dip.
He's not going nowhere.
Yeah, so it's really Draymond and Andrew Wiggins, and I don't know that they're really going away from Dre as much as like how he plays is going to determine what his next contract is, right?
Well, it's going to be about money with Dre,
right? But with Andrew, can Andrew force their hand to keep him? To me, is the question.
Well, let's talk about Andrew Wiggins.
My baby. Not really my baby. That's a married man. I don't mean it like that when I say that, guys. I'm saying I love him.
Steph Curry, Game 4, Steph Curry might have been the best Game 4 this old man has seen in 50 years. That was phenomenal. Okay.
It was phenomenal, but okay, we'll talk about Steph in a second.
That was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what he did was incredible. But Warriors win. Everything is because of Steph Curry. That's end story. Period. Point blank. Stop.
Sure.
Warriors don't win a chip without Wiggins. So for this company,
but you never win a chip without having key role guys.
I understand, but it's bigger than that. You don't let a Wiggins walk out your door if you don't have anybody on your roster that can guard point of attack, guard Luka, guard Ja, guard those guys. If you don't have that,
but it seems like that's what they're grooming Kuminga for, right? Like they want. I'm not saying that he can be, but I'm saying, at least from what I can look at from the outside looking in, that's their vision. They're trying to groom Kuminga for that role, right?
Can I tell you what Kerr's vision is on that? He wants them both. Kerr wants length and athleticism at the wing.
Well, that would be the common sense, but does management want to pay for both, right? That's the question.
Well, here again, this year's going to be crazy because after this year, all bets off.
Right, but what I'm asking is, can he force their hands? Like, do you think he can get to another level more than what we saw in the postseason?
Oh, absolutely. I think his confidence is going to be through the roof. I think the Wiggins you're going to see this year is going to be much better than you saw last year just because of confidence. Wiggins is a confident young man right now. Wiggins believes in Wiggins right now. He might not have believed that in Minnesota.
He also felt slighted by not making a defensive team. So
he should have felt slighted.
Yeah.
I mean, who
he didn't even get consideration. He didn't get votes.
Who is 6'7", 6'8" wing, who gives you 16 to 17 points a night, who never shot hunt, plays within the system, and guards the other team's first options point of attack. Give me more than 5 names that do that in the NBA.
Oh, you don't have to sell me on him. You know, yeah. I'm a Wiggins stan.
They let him go. I'm gonna be very disappointed.
They might, though. I hope they don't. But
again, it's money, though. After this is going to be the year that Wiggins, Clay, Green.
No, Clay has an extra year, though, right? I don't think they have to worry about Clay after this season. I think it's Dre and Wiggins.
We have okay.
I think
and Poole. You could be right, but they got money issues coming up because you can't pay everybody.
So you know what? I don't like to say billionaires have money issues because this is just like they don't want to spend the money. It's not because they can't or can't afford it.
Billionaires don't spend money. You know.
Yeah, that. But I mean, like you want to win, so there's a cost to winning, right? Poole. Let's talk about Poole because you talked about the game slowing down for him, but I still think it needs to slow down a little bit more. You could see in the postseason there were times he was still getting like ahead of himself and there was still some over dribbling and he was just doing too much sometimes. So
ball pounding is his issue. He needs to cut the ball pounding.
I expect that he will improve because that's just what would happen. But what kind of season are you expecting from him for next year?
I think Poole's a monster when he's right. See, the problem with Poole's the type of player that will drive a coach nuts. 1 minute this guy's a superstar. Next minute, get him off the floor. This kid.
You think his defense is going to get better?
I do, but he'll never be a player that can guard point of attack. But he will get better if he wants to. See, when we talk about great athletes in the NBA, there's a lot of them that don't want to guard that can guard. And I think Poole wants to be in the closing lineup, but Kirk's not going to put him in the closing lineup if he can't guard.
I mean, if he's going to be in the closing lineup at any point, he's going to also have to put on some muscle, right, to get stronger.
Well, I think his 2 things are guarding point of attack. It has to be better.
But that helps Steph.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Steph showed you that.
Right. I just don't feel like he can stay, even though, like, obviously, like, it's not all strength when it comes to defense. Like, he's going to have to get stronger.
No, yeah. He has to. But I think Poole's problem with Kerr is the ball pounding. I think once he cuts that down a little bit, Poole could be a star. Poole's a bucket getter.
He is.
Yeah, I mean,
he's our only other shot creator too. Outside of Steph, who else?
On certain matchups, Wiggins is. He showed you that against Luka in the playoffs.
But not for others, for himself.
I don't know. He had a lot of dimes.
I'm not.
No, wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. He had some dimes, but I understand what you're saying. But I didn't see Wiggins is my type of player.
I love Wiggins, but I think you need someone who can create like.
Oh, absolutely. No, you got to have a shot creator, and Steph, and
Yeah, you
Won't
need
do
someone
that.
else besides Steph is what I'm saying. I don't think Wiggins, unless that changes, I don't think he's good enough at it. How's that?
You want to know who the next shot creator is without taking shots?
Who?
Wiseman, vertical spacing. No, let's wait. Let me break that down. Let's go to Ayton. Let's go to Ayton for a minute.
That's not coming anytime soon, though.
No, it's not. But that's a playmaker. Let's talk about Ayton. Ayton's vertical spacing is why CP3 gets open mid-range shots.
Yeah, but we're
we're
not getting that from him in his first. To me, what I'm considering his first season, right? Like,
well, you'll get some vertical
season.
spacing. It just won't be elite.
Right, but not just. He's not a shot creator though.
In vertical spacing, you can be a shot creator without taking a shot. But I understand.
I agree. I agree.
But I understand what you're saying. You're talking playmaker, shot creator. Yeah. Okay, you're right. He's not that. He's not close to that.
I mean, Andrew Bogut was, and I think somewhere in their vision, that's what they were hoping he could be. And I don't know if he can ever be that, but he's not going to be that next year.
No, he's not going to be Bogut.
Right? That's not his game.
Bogut was very underrated.
Yeah, and he also he wants to play like Kevin Durant. He wants to play like a wing. He doesn't want to play like a big.
That is very true. He does want to shoot the three. He does. And he wants to beat you off the bounce. He does.
I think he'll help this year. I think if he's in a contained role.
Absolutely.
I think he'll help.
He's not going to be the reason why we win or lose a chip. He won't be that.
Agree. So what about Moody? Because people were high on him at the end of last season, like he looked good. But then this summer, there have been these reports, which aren't actually new, but there have been these reports. He didn't have like the best showing in summer league. So what? Let's talk about Kuminga.
Kuminga's an interesting. Here's my experience with a kid like Kuminga. He's raw athletic. He walks in any gym in America right now. Say 2 years ago. Nobody can keep him from getting to the rim. Nobody has his raw skills. He's going to jump over everybody. And what happens is, at some point in time in your life, that's not always going to be there. Come here, young man. We have to work on our game now. Wait a minute. I just scored 25 in the NBA game. I just scored 20 in the NBA game. I'm this, I'm that. Sometimes it takes a little different level to reach that young man to say, wait a minute. And this is where Iggy comes into play. Dude, you got to do more now. And I think he's at that crossroads at 19 years old.
Is he our most athletic player, or is that
absolutely? Oh my God! If he played at the U.S. Open tennis, he'd jump out. I mean, his vertical is crazy. I'm buying all stock on Kuminga. Why do I like Kuminga? Warriors in transition, he's a monster. Can he guard a dude on the wings? Absolutely. Him and Wiggins together on the floor, it gives you length. Absolutely. His shot needs work. His court awareness needs work.
I want his free throws to improve because he's the only person who can like consistently get free throws. Like when he drives to the rim.
Okay, but that's a plus.
Oh, it's a big plus, but he has to make the free throws.
Well, that's youth. Okay. His biggest weakness for me sometimes is court awareness. He hurts Steph sometimes. He'll hold the ball just a second too long. That comes with youth. He's 19 years old.
Right.
No college. Kuminga's fine. Kuminga's ceiling is through the roof. But it's going to take time.
But what about some of these, I guess, rumors or things that people are saying, like, I don't know if it's attitude or if it's work, I don't really know what the issue is.
19 years old, early success. That's my experience.
But you don't think it's going to be a long-term issue?
No, that's why I want Iggy. No. And if it is, let's say it is, then he's out of the league and that's on him. That's on him. Because his talent's crazy.
Okay.
But I think 2 years from now, we're not having this conversation.
Oh, I'm not worried about Jonathan Kuminga. I have all the stock in him too, but I'm just I
But
was
I think
curious to see the turn the commentary around him took this summer, because everyone was like high on him, and then all of a sudden it's like
because
he
the
was
summer
being
league.
bashed.
See, when coaches go to watch a summer league game, they don't even watch the game. They don't care about the damn game. They don't care about the score. They're watching certain things. Are you doing and you're not doing, and that's where they're going to go in the gym and work on. They're not. They could care less about the rest of it. Now, if there's a little attitude or work ethic, that's an issue, and that's Iggy's job.
Okay. So let's talk about the big three. Okay.
They're pretty
But
good.
they are.
I mean, let's talk about the last 8 years. They're pretty good.
They are. You know, I never had a doubt. I want to talk about Klay Thompson, because they usually say your second year back from injury is like kind of more a realistic idea of like the player you're going to be going forward. So what kind of season are you expecting from Klay? Because he's still, he's posting his videos working out. He still thinks that there's another level he can get back to. Well, what kind of season are you expecting from him for next year?
Better than last year, just because of what you just
In
said.
what areas?
Well, I think what happened to Klay this last year, he panicked a little bit, and he wanted to be the old Klay Thompson the first week back, and he panicked, and he did. He started hunting shots, and I think once they realized and pulled it back, I think that once we got to the finals, he was good and inconsistent, and he was good and he was inconsistent. Give him another year healthy, I think you get Klay back to what he used to be.
So he'll be more consistently good.
Exactly. And I think he'll do less shot hunting because he doesn't have the panic in him. He panicked a little bit because he wanted to be Klay Thompson. He is Klay Thompson.
What do you think about his defense? Like, he may not be like an all defensive player again, but do you think he can get back to being a better defender as well?
Absolutely.
Maybe not guarding the quicker guards, but
he may not guard the first option as much, but his IQ's off the roof on defense. He'd be fine from that standpoint. That's where Wiggins comes in. Wiggins is going to take that for him.
Right. Which is why I worry, like, if Wiggins goes, then who's that person going to be?
Well, if Wiggins goes out that door, you better have something coming back that can guard point of attack.
Do you see signs of Jonathan Kuminga turning into a good defender?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, here's one thing that he does very well. I think I tweeted this last year. For a young athletic defender, he stays on the floor. When he's out on, say he's guarding in space, 15, 18 feet out, his feet stay on the floor, and he does that very well. Whoever worked with Kuminga taught him defense in space.
Now, what about Wiseman? What do you see for his defense?
Protect the rim, just stand in the paint and play big. See, as a former guard, and I'm 6'3", you got a guy 6'8", 6'9" in the paint. Okay, the hell with you. I'll go over the top of you best I can. You put 7'2" in the paint, I got to back up. That changes. People don't understand 7'2" is massive in the paint. He don't have to block the shot. He don't even have to contest it. Just be there. That changes the shot.
Okay. So what about Draymond Green? I believe you were one of the people who wasn't a fan of the podcasting. Is that correct?
I thought I got kids who've gotten on me about that. They told me that's the new thing. A lot of people want the immediate emotion right after the game, Dad. I just thought it was bad timing. Especially, here's my thing. If I had a bad game, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to see you. So I thought that, but I'll stand corrected. Let him do his thing. My issue, I'm glad you brought Draymond up. I'm a big Draymond fan. I've always supported Draymond. I called him out when I thought he quit during when the young kids and G Leaguers were around. And he later admitted he did. My only issue with Draymond Green, you have to be an offensive threat. When Draymond Green scores 8 to 10 points a game and is an offensive threat, I'm not sure you can beat those three.
Yeah, we all know that stat, but I feel like we say the same thing about Dre every year regarding his offense.
Well, let's go
and
to
I mean, look, he's going to definitely be incentivized, right, to to be a better offensive player going into a contract year. You're seeing pictures of him. He just got married. Congratulations to him and Hazel. But you're seeing pictures of him and he's looking lean,
he does look thin. I saw him the other night. I saw him in a summer run. He looked very thin.
Yeah.
Here, let's go to the finals for a minute. Let's go to Udoka. What was his basketball philosophy playing the Warriors in the finals? I thought it was very interesting.
Well, so he switched up a little bit in the series at one point, but initially, right? I mean, he was guarding straight up, so he wasn't.
But let's go by what he was doing. Now, this is just my opinion. I haven't talked to him. Just my take. Udoka did not want to play movement versus Warriors.
Right.
He wanted everything in front of him. So what did he do? That's
how the Celtics play defense in general, though, right?
Well, but here's what he did that I think Kerr caught him off guard. Udoka's belief was, let's drop coverage on Steph, okay? Let's keep Steph in front of us, but we eliminate Draymond Green as a trigger man, and we don't have to play movement and chase Steph. Kerr did what a lot of you people have been asking for a long time, but it fit this time. He put the ball in Steph's hands if you're going to play that.
Ball should always be in Steph's hands.
Well,
not always, but
okay.
I'm saying teams are not going to guard Dre. Like if he's not going to shoot, they're going to keep sagging off him. And that's why I never want a Warrior squad where Steph is just has the ball in his hand all the time, just because his off-ball threat is so lethal. But what I'm saying is Dre can't be a liability on offense. And Udoka isn't the first coach to do that. It's just we got to watch it over a series, right?
But here's what Udoka did different than everybody else. You're 100% right what you just said. But Udoka said, hold up. If we play drop coverage and don't go over the top or blitz, we keep everybody in front of us. Green's not the trigger man no more. That's why Kerr took the ball out of Green's hands. He had to.
Right.
Now, that drop coverage played right into the Warriors because now you got Curry at high ball screen with an open look. That was well, I think Udoka would tell you that was a mistake.
Okay. But when he tried the other way,
well, it's too late. Lost. Well, it's too late. Curry already had him cut.
Right. But I'm just saying, I guess my point is that the idea that if you don't guard like that you have some other advantage, to me has played out to also not be true, right? I don't know, we can say he made a mistake, but if he chose the alternative, I don't think it's making a difference. What the difference to me is that, okay, so instead of Steph having 30 plus games, then he'd have 27, 28. You're not he's still going to get his shot off. You're not stopping them.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that.
Whichever way you choose to guard. I just feel like when they drop and they sag off Dre the way that they do, and they leave no space on the court, right? But he still has the ball in his hand, then he's making it harder for Steph to operate out there.
See, you know what I would do different than most coaches? And I'm not here to criticize any coaches. I don't know why coaches don't ball pressure Draymond. I would ball pressure him and make them passes off the bounce with pressure.
You don't think he can?
I don't know if he can, but I don't want to let him just sit there and do it with nobody guarding.
But why? Yeah, but if no one's guarding him, but they're they have 2-on Steph, and one that pass, they can read those passes. You can play the passing lanes.
I understand.
They get I don't feel I think that's actually worse. I don't think they should ball pressure him. I think they actually should drop off of him because now who are you going to pass to? You make it hard. And instead you make Clay and Steph run all over the goddamn court.
Well, here's how you do that. You ball pressure Draymond. Okay. Once Draymond makes that pass, his defender follows the pass. Now he's sitting on the defense or he's doubling. And you don't guard him. But you don't let him just stand there like a coach at practice and just throw the ball with nobody.
But that pass is not being made anymore. That's my point.
Was it in the finals? No.
But it hasn't been for the last couple of years. We've seen it. There's been a decrease because before they were not completely dropping on him. That's what I'm saying. Now they drop, and it's like, okay, yeah, he's at the top of the key dictating, but where you going?
Well,
Steph
let me
has
ask you
two
this question.
bodies on him.
Let me ask you this question. Will we both agree that Draymond has a very high IQ basketball?
He does.
Okay. Why does he recognize this? The teams don't guard him and his defenders sitting in the
I
mud.
think he does. But here's the thing, right? Like, I think he does. But I think his equity in the Warriors and what he's built up allows them to get away with that. And like, and also, if he continues to make himself indispensable on defense, and that was really the issue, right? His defense was like, but if he continues to make himself, indispensable on defense, then they still put him out there for offense. Their best way to play, if you're gonna put him out there, is for the ball to be in his hands. But that's, like you said, it comes back to your original point. That is not the best thing if you pose zero offensive threat.
Right. Now, respect to Draymond, he was big in a couple game 6 on defense. He was big.
He was, but we need that Dre consistently.
Well,
and I'm not saying over the course of the season. He's an older guy. I'm just saying,
just be a threat, Nat. Just be a threat. Make a layup.
He's very smart and he knows. I don't buy the he doesn't know stuff. And like, reporters have asked him, like, well, do you think there's anything, like, what do you think can be done differently? And he's coy. He's like, oh, I don't know. Like, that's how we play. Really? Now you don't know? Now? Because that would be having to call himself, right? So he has times that he'll like call himself out and say, like, I was just trash. But like, come on. We all know that like them not guarding you, that's hurting the team.
Well, Warriors won a chip playing 4 versus 5, and I never thought you could do that.
I mean, but they didn't play like that the whole time. I mean,
no, but they played a lot. But then again, I mean, Steph was good in the playoffs and the finals. Let's just give it to him. I know that's your goat.
Always good, but that's
he went to a different level.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I reject that completely. This idea that this was like some new version of Steph is bullshit.
I didn't say new.
No, but it's not even a different level. The only Steph in 2017 nearly averaged a triple-double, like in the finals. He was the leading scorer in 3 of the 4 games in 2018. There's no other fucking level. It's just he was guarded differently.
That's true.
In those games, Ty Lue said, nah, man, we're not. That's why I said the only difference you're going to get is that Steph is probably going to have less points, but he's still going to be in the high 20s, right? And someone else is going to score a little bit more. The difference is at that time you had Kevin Durant, but this time you'd have Andrew Wiggins. So yeah, it's not going to be as great as Kevin Durant, but then someone else on the team is just going to make you pay. This is not a difference in level of Steph. It's not. It's just the defensive scheme makes the output look different.
Okay. There's two things here that can be true. The defense was different. I agree. But I think Steph went to another freaking level, even of his great level.
No.
That game 4.
The game 4 was amazing, but we've seen great games from Steph. They just didn't win. We just didn't win them. Like when he,
I agree with that.
Like versus the Toronto series, right? When like that game when they came back home and there was no Clay was out, Kevin Durant was out, and it was just him as a one-man team, and he got to like 47 points. What is that? Like, and there are other games from like the 2015 finals that they won, but people seem to pretend that he didn't have like a great finals. He was incredible the remaining 3 games of those series. If Steph didn't go to another level, they don't win. They were down 2-1. What happened over those final 3 games? It was his show.
I'm not arguing with you. I agree.
The
only disagreement is I think he went from greatness to another level of greatness.
No, the only difference is that he won. He had a coach that was willing to guard him straight up, something that Ty Lue wasn't willing to do.
Well, I told you about that.
Something that most coaches are not willing to do. Because what do we always say? You guard Steph straight up. Remember when Katie was on the team in 2018 and they played the Clippers series, right? And that first game they won and he went off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second game they were up. Steph got into some foul trouble. They had a big lead, lost that game. And then all of a sudden we got this bullshit rant about, oh, we got to get Kevin Durant the ball. The reason they fucking lost the game was not because they didn't get Kevin Durant the ball. Anyway, my simple point being that what did happen was Doc said, nah, we're not letting Steph roam free anymore. Like, they started trapping him and doubling him in that game too. And then what happened? So now you go to KD, right? It was not a change in what he can do on the court. It was the defensive scheme. But nonetheless, the output and the shooting and the playmaking, all of that was still there. I reject this idea.
All right, I won't argue that, but now can I remind you?
Go ahead.
I have an album out from Spaces telling you about guarding Steph on an island. You're gonna get your ass cooked. You remember that?
I know that.
Yeah, you can't guard Steph out there on an island like that.
I know, but I just don't like these narratives because what people who are ignorant of the team or people who just didn't want to give him his credit, what they're trying to do is make it seem like, oh, he did something different this time. No, you're a fucking hater. You didn't want to acknowledge his greatness. And you're using this bullshit excuse. I reject it. I'm happy, though, that everyone got to see what he's capable of doing because Warriors fans have been screaming this for some time. But this is Steph. This is who Steph has always been.
Well, first of all, he got robbed of the Finals MVP when Iggy got it. I mean, that's a fact.
I'd argue he got robbed when Kevin Durant was here, too. But that's
fair. I mean, that's fair. But I agree with everything you say about Steph. Game 4 to me was just crazy.
Game 4 was incredible. It was. I don't want to take anything away from that game because he did what superstars did, and he went
beyond superstar.
He had his moment that everyone feels you got to have your moment. So he had his moment. He added to his legacy. I'm not trying to take any of that away. The only thing I'm pushing back on, Coach, is the idea that this was like some other level he's never gotten to. I just don't agree with that. That's
fair. That's fair. But anybody thinks Steph Curry hasn't produced in finals are idiots, so that's a hater. Come on. First of all, let's just talk about his gravity. First of all, he's catching schemes, and then his gravity. I mean, come on, stop.
Yeah. Oh, we can talk for days about that, but we don't have to.
You know what? No, I'm blessed. Wait, I'm blessed. I've watched Steph Curry since he was 10 years old. Played with Charlotte Stars. In fact, I promised you a story I was going to tell you.
Okay, so go ahead. Wait. Before you tell me the story, I just want to wrap up with the players. We both agree that Draymond's incentivized for next season, so I'm expecting a better season from Dre. I think there'll be a slightly better offensive uptick. I don't know that we're even getting close ever again to the Draymond that we had in 2016, but I'm hoping he will be a better offensive player. But I think the defense will be there, generally speaking.
Yeah, well, he's a great team defender. Even on his decline, he's still a great team defender, and he's still a great post defender. He might struggle a little more in space, but he's still a great post defender.
Okay, and what are we expecting for Stephen? What kind of season for him? Because he had a down year. When I say down, let me be very clear. His shooting percentages from 3. First year, because I don't count the season when he only played 4 games and got hurt.
Did the record affect that?
I really believe that, but I don't know. I'm not him, so I couldn't tell you. I pay more attention to what Steph said, and while he acknowledged there was a level of stress around the record, he talked about his shooting form and realizing that something had changed, right, in his shot and correcting it. So I think the best shooter to ever play the game knows really what went more into that than I do. But anyway, my simple point is that it wasn't even for the whole season. It was for a 2-month stretch in the season. And because of that, everyone made it seem like this man was in decline, and he's not in decline. So, and he's looking spry and still good because he's one of the best conditioned athletes in the league. So with that being said, obviously Kerr is going to manage him. He's going to manage his older players, right? But what kind of season are you expecting from him for next year?
First of all, we're seeing a different offseason from Steph than we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing in a bunch of golf. He's playing summer runs. Why is Steph playing summer runs? Why?
He's coming back to wreak
But
havoc.
exactly. But here's where Steph is genius. He understands his age. He understands the game. Maybe I shouldn't take 2 months off playing golf. Maybe I need to stay. Maybe I need to keep playing. Because I'm going to come back and get a back-to-back, and then I'm going to give you all an F you.
I love that back-to-back. Who do you think? I want to hear your story, but we're going to close with the story. So who is their biggest threat based on the way teams as
healthy Clippers? If Clippers are healthy, just because they can match up with wings. That's it. But I like to work.
If they make it out the West and they get to the finals again, who in the East would pose the biggest challenge?
Milwaukee. But I just think the narrative is laid out for Kyrie and KD to give everybody F you. Not to prove us wrong, but to prove us you were right.
I ain't concerned about them. Steph beating them too.
I think it's the Warriors or Clippers.
I hope that the Nets get there. I hope they do. I hope Kevin Durant goes off and has a great season.
You only say that because you can go watch. Because you can walk down the street.
No, I don't give a shit about that. Because I wanted them. I wanted them this year. They couldn't handle their goddamn business because I wanted them to make it.
They can't guard.
Because I want Steph to beat their ass. That's what I want.
Steph Curry story. Steph is 10 and under. I don't remember if he's 9 or 10. But Steph had a grown man jump shot as a kid. Final four. By the way, his backcourt mate was Ish Smith. Backcourt, they're in the Final Four. They're down one. They're either down one or tied, but I believe it's down one. Steph's at the free throw line for 2 free throws. 4 or 5 seconds left. Steph had 2 misses, good misses. Game over. I watched Steph, how he handled himself and the way his mother handled him. I knew right there at 10 years old, this kid is going to be major. He handled it just like a pro, like it was just off his back. They were good misses, and I'll move on. And I looked at a couple guys sitting next to me. That guy's going to be successful in life, whatever he does. But don't let him get on the basketball floor because his confidence is sky high. And I saw that at 10 years old.
Yeah, he was special. I mean, I remember that run in college and like everyone was talking about him. And that's when he caught my attention because I don't watch college basketball that much, but like during the tourney, I kind of tune in here and there, but it was all about Steph. And I love point guards. That's like my favorite position. That's why I love Chelsea Gray and
Magic.
loved Magic. Magic is my guy. So I love point guards. And so, except for Chris Paul, but I love most point guards. So, it was like he was initially what like piqued my interest. Like I just kept kind of following him, but then like I also liked that like Mark Jackson had come over. So I was just fascinated. I support Black coaches, and so when they get teams, I like to kind of stay on top of what they're doing. So it was like little by little, but like just little things kept pulling me in, and then I just overall fell in love with the entire team. So but yeah, he's been on my radar for sure.
Steph had an interesting journey in AAU. I mean, Steph was always a good player. Steph was always ranked. But you didn't see, even as he got 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you didn't see pro. The guy in our class that you knew was an automatic pro was Mike Conley. If you would have told me today that Steph would have a better NBA career than Mike Conley, I would have told you you're on crack.
Yeah, but why? What was the difference? Because you said that you saw back then that.
Well, first of all, Conley's speed was ridiculous. Nobody can even stay in front of him. But then again, back to the Kuminga situation. When you're that great, that athletic, and get to the rim anytime you want, your shooting suffers because you don't work on it. Conley's weakness is his outside game, even though it's gotten better as his pro career. Steph always shot a jump shot like a grown man. I mean, I would sit and talk shooting with Dale. He shot it like a grown man. I mean, his spin rotation.
But I don't understand that because I feel like what I always see is the same thing. It's like when I see these reports, especially for players coming out, And it's always like, oh, the athleticism, this, that. I feel like people focus so much on the speed, the athleticism, and
They
like
do.
not
They
as much
do.
on the skill, right?
They
And
do. You're
so,
right.
and
They
I'm
do.
I'm not saying that the first isn't important, but I feel like that's how a lot of really great players get overlooked because
They do.
they're really skilled, right?
Mhm.
And I mean, obviously no one expected this for Jokic either, but again, a very skilled player, right? Look at Moody right now, right? Like skilled, Steph skilled. I'm just saying, like, I feel like there's so many names we can name, but I feel like this often happens. They get overlooked, and it's the same fucking thing. Oh, well, y'all didn't think I was this, y'all didn't think I was that, and then
It's true though.
they went crazy for like the crazy athletic, tall, strong. Why do they keep repeating the same mistakes?
That's a fair question, but that is the truth. Like if a guy walked in the gym, a guy recruiting, and saw Wiseman and Kaminga, he'd pee his pants. I need those guys. Get him in the car. I'm going home. It's a weird dynamic. I understand what you're saying because there's a lot of kids with great skill that get overlooked, but a lot of kids with great skills, the game don't translate when you put the athletes and the grown men.
So do a lot of those athletes.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of them don't translate either.
You got to.
That's
you're
all
right.
I understand.
Well, wait a minute. That's why we have so many misses. To your point, too many guys go by athleticism and speed, and guys can't play the game, and they miss. So, you're spot on. I'm guilty of it sometimes. I walk in and see a kid touch the top of the square of speed. Okay, I want him. Sometimes it's a downfall.
Okay. Well, this has been a wonderful discussion, Ricky.
Thank you,
I hope you enjoyed being on.
Come on, you're my girl. I'm gonna punch you sometimes, but you're my girl. I love you. It's funny. I told a few people I was doing your show today last night. Like,
Oh,
what?
okay.
What? Oh, okay. I'm listening to that. I said, no, it ain't gonna be what y'all think it's gonna be.
They think it's gonna be first
We set
day.
you guys up. Yeah, they don't know we set them all up for this. Anyways, you keep doing what you're doing. You're doing big things.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your. I give Dime his due for his passion. I should give you some of your due too. I don't know if there's anybody that has more passion about the game of basketball. No,
I don't know about
really
that,
do.
but thank you.
You really do. And you just don't know just the Warriors. See, that's the problem with a lot of people. They just know their team. You know the NBA.
I try. I have some more work to do in that area.
I'm here to tell you do. Well, we all do.
I
still learn. That's why, and I know you have a lot of ladies that follow you, basketball ladies, WNBA ladies. I wish a lot of them would follow me because I would love their input. I love listening to ladies basketball minds talk because it's a different lens from what I'm used to.
Yeah. We had a really great spaces last night. You should tune in for some of them.
You should let me in. Because I don't want to talk. I just want to listen.
No, you should follow. I'll send it to you. But the Hoopstresses, that's the group that I created.
I would love to listen to
where it's all women. We cover the NBA and WNBA, but it's typically women speaking about hoops. And it's we have like all kinds of people, like, and sometimes we have even like players who come up and speak with us. So you should follow that, and then every so often tap in for the spaces if you're available. I'll let you know about more of them.
I would like to know with the ladies.
Your girl, the one who you like.
I think her basketball mind is exceptional.
She was on. She hosted yesterday, and it was an incredible space.
In fact, you should
shout out to Siobhan. That's who we're talking about. Siobhan Beslow.
Okay, I'm a Siobhan fanboy, or however you call it. I think her basketball is elite.
She's great.
If I was in the coaching business, I'd hire her on the spot.
Well, people, so if you know anyone, because she's trying to like start.
Is she looking for a job?
She does film breakdown, and so we'll talk about that offline. But she's excellent at it. Yeah, she's excellent at it. So shout out to Siobhan. So I'm looking forward to the season, Ricky. It sounds like you think the Warriors are in a good position to repeat.
Sure, why not? It's only been 2 months. What, they fall off a cliff?
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree, and I
love
can't
your
wait.
Smile. Thank you.
All right, guys. This was Ricky OG. Thanks. Appreciate you. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. As you can see, me and Ricky are cool. So I'm sorry to disappoint those who thought we were going to be sparring, but just some great basketball conversation. So really looking forward to the season. Thank you again, Ricky, so much for coming on. You guys know what to do. If you're not following me already, well, you'll be following me, I hope. If you're not following Ricky already, is what I meant. You should be following him, but Ricky has more followers than me. So I don't think there's probably too many people following me who don't follow you. But what's your handle, Ricky? Let them know where they can find you. You don't know it? You need me to give it to them?
Yeah, what is it? J. Richard something, I don't know. My granddaughter did all this for me.
Oh gosh. All right. So I will give y'all Ricky's handle, and it'll also be posted in the show, but it's J. Richard Goodman. Okay. At J. Richard Goodman. So follow him. Like I said, we do some spaces from time to time. You'll catch him tweeting on the timeline about basketball all day and night. And as long as you're respectful, he likes to engage in discourse. So, give Ricky a follow. All right, guys, you know the drill. Rate the show, write a review, tell your friends about it, share. We're growing, and I can't do it without your support. So I appreciate all of y'all. Until next time, take care.